Welcome back. Now, Portsmouth's leading independent pharmacy has published a response to the potential closure of the Portsmouth Guildhall Walk-In Centre, highlighting some serious concerns for people in the city. Now, Raj Laly is a GP and a director of Lalys Pharmacy. Raj, thank you so much for coming in. So first of all, just talk me through, what are your main concerns? It's just one walk-in centre, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, our main concern has been the CCG, who basically made the decision about whether the walk-in centre will stay open and also where it's going. And there's been a consultation process in recent months deciding on what's going to happen. And our primary concern is that that's going to affect the sort of residents in Portsmouth if the walk-in centre moves. Or the surgery moves and is closed down. They think that it's sensible to move it to St Mary's Treatment Centre. We feel it's important to keep the walk-in centre, i.e. the Guildhall Walk-In Centre, as well as the GP surgery itself, in Portsmouth city centre itself. And we're a pharmacy that are next door to it as well. So we see the everyday footfall of patients, and they are keen to keep it there as well also.
I mean, cynics watching the programme would say that obviously you're worried because if they close down that surgery in the middle of Portsmouth, right next to, as you said, your pharmacy, then obviously that's going to be a huge, at the huge detriment of your business.
Yeah, I don't doubt that at all. It will be a detriment to the business, and we've never denied that fact. I think what gets us slightly confused is that we were only asked 4 years ago by the PCT, who are the people pre-CCGs, to open a pharmacy there. So that we were approached by the NHS effectively, and members of the NHS, to open a new business. There were no pharmaceutical services there, so we adhered to that and we opened up a pharmacy, bought a premises, employed 12 staff, and they are there now working. And now you have another, obviously newer NHS organisation, which has all sort of been brought up with the previous government, and they're still existing, to have to make decisions, and now they're proposing to close or move the surgery. And for us, that's a bit unfair, considering only a few years ago we were asked to open it. So I think that's where we get slightly confused, and not having dialogue with the CCG, where they haven't spoken to us prior to it, has been of concern. And they've only very recently started to have some brief dialogue with us.
So what you're saying is there's both a kind of sort of lack of joined up thinking between one organisation and the one that sort of took over from it, and then also they're just not really communicating with you about the changes that they want to make. Am I sort of summing that up there?
Yeah, 100% correct. And that's where we've got frustrated. So initially, last year, in the middle of the summer almost, it was through other patients of the surgery who actually informed us that this surgery could close or be moved. The CCG never told us that, so it's through the grapevine really that we heard of this happening. And then when we did relay our concerns, that's only when this consultation process materialised, and that's only when actually real viewpoints, real feedback about what the city's going to lose has been put forward. And we've expressed that with patients and other sort of organisations to indicate and highlight our worries about this happening.
I suppose at the end of the day, the government and the people working for them, the CCG and so on, are all looking at ways to kind of save money, and having one fewer centre open would certainly, presumably, save money. So, but how much would it inconvenience patients then? After all, St Mary's it's not that far away, it's only a couple of miles.
I mean, it is far. It is far for people that live in the city centre. I mean, there's great foot flow there. A lot of people there are...
There's not a shop.
No, exactly.
Don't rely on foot flow.
No, you're correct. But we have to be aware that in Portsmouth itself, you get a lot of tourism. They'll go to Guildhall Walk accordingly. There are a lot of students in the area as well. University of Portsmouth is thriving there for 8-9 months of the year. There are more halls of residence cropping up around that area as well. So suddenly you don't have a service which has actually been very successful in recent years since it's been there. And what's going to happen? Will that create extra pressure on A&E? Will that create extra pressure on other GP surgeries? I think, considering it's been a successful service, it's a wrong time to make such a decision like this when it's not necessary. If something's not working, then I agree. And the CCG recognise it's a working service, and in effect, they have recognised the St Mary's one is a service that needs propping up, and I think that's a bit unfair for this.
I understand. Thank you very much, Raj, for coming in and sharing your concerns, and we will, of course, keep our audiences updated on the future of the Guildhall Centre.
Okay.